Welcome. Here we are, War 10, and we're almost caught up and wrapped up. And counting this, 3 wars to go. Alright, so first up, we're Path 4, Section 1. We have this Killmonger fight. Even though I know this node, he applies petrifies and reverses your regen. I do not know why I put a combat regen boost. Part of me wants to say I meant to do a power start 1 because I can't see any reason for me to want to do an invulnerability boost here. So yeah, that I'm not even sure why that was a thing, but hey. Luckily we got our SP1 off. Or did we get our SP1 off? Okay, yeah, we got our SP1 off. We heavy in the SP2. Took a big chunk of Killmonger's health off. So, we repeat and that should be the end of things. I'm still stuck on the fact that we had a combat regen boost on. Don't ask me why. But hey, we throw our second SP2, Killmonger's down. The fight barely took a minute, so we're out of there. Now we're moving on to this Thing fight. And we're gonna have to heal Jean up. Oh, I felt the pain watching my potion stash go down. Okay, I could see me applying a combat regen boost for this fight. Probably because I had so many, but yeah, the Killmonger fight, I'm just here like, why? I don't know, like I said, this was a while ago. I think this was a week or 2 ago, so who knows? But here we are. So we're gonna kind of keep on that same rotation we had with Killmonger. The only difference here is we need to watch Thing's rock stacks, and I think there's like some little counter timer where you need to get a 15 combo or you get a glancing buff on you within that time limit. So we'll just kind of we're not too worried about that. Only thing I wish I did differently here was turn on willpower, because there's like so many debuffs, so many ways to heal here. But right now we get our SP1 off. Luckily he's playing ball and throwing his specials like he should. So we're gonna see how big the damage the SP2 is, and hey, we did a nice chunk of damage. So I'm like, okay, about do that like 2 more times and the fight should be over with. As long as Thing plays ball and he throws his specials, yeah, we should be good to go, Now we're gonna get a glancing buff on us, so we're not too worried about that. We stop our combo short because we want to make sure we're pushing on the 15 stacks over the bar power. You don't want to be in that position where he's at a bar power, he's at like 14 stacks and he throws a special, Those suck. So we get our second SP2 off, which triggers the protection. And we're like, okay, 1 more SP1, SP2, and the fight should be over with. And we got our 15 hits in just in time, so we don't have to deal with the glancing. And at that point, I was like, I did a little too much. So he's at 15 stacks, but we can't get our SP1 off. I mean, I probably could have tried to time it better. So we threw our SP2 anyway, and we're like, okay, 1 more special, and we should, the fight should be over with. We're holding block here because we threw the special. He had like 11 or 12 stacks, and he was barely over a bar power. We didn't want him to get back, And now I'm in the position where I said, don't do this. Push him to 14 stacks. He throws a special. So we threw our special out of, I guess, just panic. And at this point, it's like, okay, just slow down and we can get there. So I was like, hey, if you back up, I'll hit your block, give you some power, and yeah, we can get back into a rotation. And of course, I get sidestepped. I'll keep that in mind fighting Jean going forward. But yeah, and at this point, I'm like, okay, my best fights come when I'm on the verge of death. So luckily he's at the 15 stacks, and we get out of the corner, we evade a special, And we strike her into our no SP2, just a combo. And hey, we survived. That's all that matters. But yeah, if I had willpower turned on, we would have healed a ton. And I probably wouldn't have been in that worse of a position. But moving on. So here we are, section 2, path 1. And we have this Mangog that me and my officer were going over, like who I would use here. And I was like, I could use Mr. Fantastic, I was very adamant that Mr. F can handle this fight. We're talking about Mangog's power gain, and to me, I'm like, yeah, it's not a, Mr. Fantastic, like, the power gain would go crazy whenever Mangog gets a shock on him from Mr. Fantastic's SP2, but by that point, I'd have 2 Petrify, and I'm reducing his power gain by 80%. We get 3 Petrify, and we're reversing all the power gain. Now, initially, I was like, if the power gain is as crazy as they're telling me it would be, then I'll just apply the invulnerability boost and push him to SP3. Now, unfortunately, you don't do what I did and just start the war fight off by getting hit 3 times and losing your boost. So that made that whole boost null and void. But we do get our first SP2 off. You can see he started to gain some power, but we reduce his power gain rate by 80% because we have 2 Petrify. So we're also doing a lot of heavies. Every time we knock him down, we refresh all the buffs or debuffs. And now we have 3 Petrify. So at this point, if you notice, his power is going down because we're basically reversing it. And he's never going to touch a bar power again. So I think he managed to throw off 2 SP1s this whole war fight. And that is as far as he gets. So look at that. We got a 47k heavy. Yeah, you gotta love it. And hey, there's my Mr. Fantastic, Is he the most hitting champion in the game? No. Is he the fastest? No. Does he have a ton of utility and really good damage? Absolutely. So I was like, yeah, this guy's one of my favorite champions in the game. I've used my 6-star countless times. So we're here, letting my officer apply the pre-fight for me. And now we're coming in with Warlock. We're still in path 1, so that means it's node at some form of regen. So the plan here is get our infections up so we don't have to worry about future regen. And yeah, we just go from there. They're running willpower, so we can power drain them. We got our debuffs and infection rolling, so we would dash back, waited till they fell under a bar power, and we'll pretty much keep that going. As long as we do this, Bullseye would never throw a special 1. And that's how you can keep Bullseye in check with Warlock. We wait for the evade icon to fall off, we throw a heavy. And because we also had the passive stun from the White Mags pre-fight, we could actually attack Bullseye while the parry was on, because it was passive. And there you have it. That was my contributions for this war. So stay tuned. We got 2 more, followed up by one of those wars. I actually take like 6-7 fights, I think, or 7 or 8 fights. I don't know. But stay tuned, guys. Peace.